This podcast is for the sales professionals at every level. If you want to convert more prospects into paying customers, then you're in the right place. Because Joe has spent the last 3 decades mastering buying behaviors, personality types, emotional and logical triggers. This is the Sales Genius Podcast. It's only a numbers game if you want educated. It's time to get educated. Let's go! Educated. Want to learn how to close deals. Want to learn how to sell more. That's what we're here for at Sales Genius. Let's go!
Greetings, sales geniuses. My name is Coach Dan Gordon, and I'm filling in for Joe Ingram. So, do you ever feel like you're lost, hanging off a cliff in your marketing? Well, my guest today, Jeremy Leuk, knows how to guide businesses through that crazy climb. Jeremy is the founder of Epic 9 Marketing Outfitters, and he has spent the last decade helping brands conquer their marketing mountains, growing his company into a team of 16 and guiding hundreds of businesses past the $1 million mark. Cool. Jeremy is also the co-host of Marketing Trailblazers, fireside chats with trailblazing CMOs. He's the co-founder of Sky City Entrepreneur Center. He's also the author of Climb: The Risk and Rewards of Elevating Your Brand. His mission is to educate, elevate, and inspire entrepreneurs with actionable strategies that actually work. So let's dive into the tools that will make your business grow to new heights. Jeremy Leuk, welcome to the Sales Genius Podcast.
Hey, Dan, thank you for that intro, man. I'm hyped up. I love
All right. Well, so am I. So can we start with kind of an easy softball question? Would that be okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Why does most marketing suck? What is everyone doing wrong? And what are you getting right?
So I'll say this. It's good news, right? Like the bar is really low to create great, effective marketing.
Nice.
especially if you're on that medium to small business spectrum. If you're enterprise, it's a little bit of a different game, but that especially for like small local businesses, medium regional businesses, most advertising, most marketing is pretty forgettable. And what your marketing of any sort should really be doing is earning a place in people's memory. All right. If it's not earning that spot in someone's memory, then you're wasting money with it. I've seen a lot of money being spent on ads and brands and campaigns that I know no one is remembering. Like as a marketer, when I drive down the road and I see a billboard or I'm online and I see an ad pop up, I can't help but think like, oh my goodness, like the people are just they're wasting thousands of dollars every month on campaigns that just will never make an impact and never do what they're supposed to do. You've probably heard the saying that like you have to see an ad or you have to hear a radio ad, like 10 times before someone remembers it. And that's true a lot of the times, right? It's probably even more these days. I think that number keeps on increasing. And it's true for the most part, partly because most ads are boring and you have to see it 10 or 20 times because they just want to drill it into your head. Right. But the contrast that I always like to point out is think about your favorite Super Bowl commercial. How many times did it take you to see that commercial before it stuck in your memory and you were talking about it, right? Probably you just had to watch that Doritos commercial one time, right? And you were raving about it the next day at work. Great marketing and great advertising does that, right? It makes your marketing dollars a lot more efficient. And so I think
So I love what you say about being interesting, right? Because of social media, because of so many channels, because of so much content, rising above it is critical, right? And so what do you do to make something more interesting to get that cut through?
So I think you've got to do two things. One is you got to put yourself in the shoes of your customer or your client and look at it from their perspective. I think that's just kind of everybody kind of understands that, right? But the other thing is you've got to be willing to do things that other people aren't doing, right? There's the saying in advertising. I think it was Ogilvy, one of the old Mad Men type of folks.
Yeah,
Said,
right.
when everybody's zigging, you need to zag. And at some point, if you zag long enough, everybody else is going to catch on and they're going to zag with you, and then you need to zig again. But you can't be scared of taking some risk. Like if you come up with a campaign that you're working on and it doesn't make you a little nervous, if it doesn't scare you just a little bit, then it's probably boring. It's probably too safe, because you're probably doing something that 1,000 other people have done and you feel comfortable with it. When you do something that no one else has done, or you take an approach that you're not sure if it's going to work or not, that may, naturally that causes a little bit of nervousness.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing something that makes you a little nervous, that's a good sign.
But with all the cancel culture out there now, right? If you're doing something like a little nervous, pushing the edges, it's really easy to go over the edge, right? And get yourself canceled. Like how do you avoid that?
I mean, don't be dumb with it, right? Like don't be, I think this, you want to be a little risky, but you want to make calculated risks.
All right.
And so, obviously don't, push the envelope for pushing's sake. But you can, humor is a great way to go about it. Like if you can tap into people's humor, that is a sure way to earn a spot in their memory. It's the hardest way, right? I'm horrible at telling jokes. I've taken, like, anytime I do speaking engagement or anything, I try not to tell the jokes because it always turns out bad. However, if you can write a good line into a campaign, or a good tagline or something that makes people kind of, just kind of laugh a little bit, that is one of the most effective things you can do. So you want to figure out, how do you tie into people's emotions, and do it in such a way that it cuts through that noise, right? So humor, nostalgia. I did this kind of A and B test at the last time I spoke to a group of folks, and we were talking about AI and how AI is kind of taking over a lot of creative, but the creative that AI is doing right now is not great. It's
not really creative at all.
You're right. Yeah. So, did you see the AI commercial that Coke did over Christmas?
No, I didn't. No.
So they took an old commercial where they had, you remember the commercial? I think it was from the 80s. They had the big 18-wheelers that were decked out in lights, and they were all lit up with Coca-Cola, and they were driving through, a wintry town scene.
Right. Okay.
So they take that commercial and they reproduced it with artificial intelligence and AI generation. And so we played them back to back, right? We played, this one's AI. It had some, polar bears in it that were animated, right, some dog and all this stuff, but it just didn't land in the same way that the old Coke commercial did. Like, you play that old Coke commercial and you see it, and you see the genuine expressions on real people's faces and everything, and it hits you in a deeper spot as a human than the stuff that is obviously AI generated hits.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that we have a real opportunity to create some great marketing, because more people are going to be leaning into AI, and if we lean back into our own humanity, that's going to give that that cut through.
100%. Like, if AI can help to a certain extent, but don't let it do the whole thing. Like, don't let it be human for you, right? You can connect with other humans on a way that AI. I don't know if AI will ever be able to. I'm not gonna limit it. A year from now, we'll probably be working for AI, but right now, in this moment, AI cannot connect with humans the way that humans can connect with humans. And so use it to your advantage, but don't rely 100% on it, for sure.
All right. So tell us about Climb Club. What is that?
Yeah. So let me back up and tell you a little bit about kind of Epic 9 in general. And kind of leads into Climb Club. So Epic 9 started it 11 years ago. We're a full service marketing agency, do branding, strategy, video production, ad buys, all the things, right? If it has to do with marketing, we do it. When we started out though, we were pretty small. It was just me. But I hired on one or two people pretty quickly, but at the first it was just me, and I was working with a lot of local mom and pop type of businesses. That's what I love. Like the entrepreneurial spirit of our local communities. That's what drives and keeps our communities going. They're the ones that are hiring all the people, right?
Sure.
Corporations don't hire as many people altogether as small businesses do. So they're the one hiring the people. They're the ones giving to the nonprofits in our communities, right? Walmart might give a little bit, but not nearly as much as Joe's HVAC and these other places. That's where the collective good that's coming in our local economy comes from, is all these small businesses, these people that risked it all to start something. And so that's kind of been at the heart and the core of Epic 9 since. But at the same time, we've had to kind of run our business and figure out how do we survive and sustain and make money. And as technology evolved, as the economy evolved, we had to evolve as well. And so our main clients are usually in that $5 to $50 million a year range. But we've always wanted to help the folks that are just, they're out there hustling and grinding every day to get their business off the ground. And so Climb Club is really targeted towards people who are, their business is in that $1 million or less per year revenue. And it really gives them the tools that they need to do DIY their marketing effectively. There are a lot of people out there. I mean, you can throw a rock pretty much anywhere you go and hit a marketer, right? You can hit someone that does web design or social media or drone photography. We're a dime a dozen. We're like guitar players. It's really hard to find the drummer, but you can find a guitar player everywhere. But what we wanted to do was create a place where they could get the resources that they need to figure out how to navigate the ever-changing marketing world on their own, but also have a group of other local business owners that they can lean on. And at this point, we have a weekly mastermind. At some point, we'll grow to have multiple every week. But we've got one weekly mastermind that we have every week currently. Come get advice, give advice. If you're struggling with a particular marketing problem, or even sometimes just a regular business issue, it's a place to come and figure out how to get over that hurdle and get up the mountain.
Yeah. And what are the typical problems that local businesses are facing that you guys can just like hit it right down the center and help them with?
Yeah. So small business, what we found is a lot of small businesses are in this no man's land of marketing, right? You don't have enough money to go out and hire an agency. But you have to advertise. And so what we found a lot of time is people, they'll come and they'll say, hey, we've got $500, we've got $1,000 a month. Can you do our social media, or can you do our Google ads?
And you just laugh at them?
No. I'm like, I know the struggle. I know what you're trying to do. But you're going to waste your money with us. Like if you give us that $1,000, half of it's going to us.
Yeah.
And so you only have $500 left to actually do advertising with. And so Climb Club helps you take that full $1,000 and use it in the most efficient way possible. Now there are good freelancers out there. I don't want to poo-poo all freelancers out there.
Oh, go on, Jeremy.
What we see a lot is there's more bad than good, right?
Yeah.
And so we've gotten a lot of clients over the years that they'll say, well, I'm paying so-and-so $200 to run my Facebook account. And we look at their Facebook account and it's like, you can tell you're paying so-and-so $200 to run. I mean, it'd be better for you if you just didn't have any Facebook content at all than what they're doing for you. And so you really get what you pay for. Now, again, there are some gems out there. There are some just great people that are doing great work at a
You're
really
being way
affordable
too
rate.
nice, Jeremy.
No, there are, but here's the risk to it is
Right.
that at some point they're going to have to make their business work, and they're going to have to raise their prices. They're going to outgrow where you're at,
Mhm.
and so it's better if you DIY your marketing until you can get to that point where you can spend $3,000 or so a month. Once you're at that point, you have the options of maybe hiring on a part-time marketer on your staff, hiring an agency, doing something with it. But up to that point, you're kind of in this no man's land where you've got to make your marketing work. And you're not really in a position where you can pay for someone else to do it for you.
And so with Climb Club, are you teaching businesses how to do their own marketing? Right.
Yeah. So we got it. We do everything from teach a kind of a fundamental marketing course of here are the elements that you need to really create a good marketing plan. Here's how you get all of your metrics set up. Here's how you step by step, like how do you set up your Google Analytics, how to set up Microsoft Clarity, how to do these things to track what you're trying to accomplish. And then things like a social media challenge, email marketing courses. So all of this sort of basic stuff that if you're not in it every day, it can be a little overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we try to break it down and make it super simple, digestible. And then we all, myself, some of the folks from our team at Epic 9 were on call to answer any questions that anybody has during that time as well.
And look, there's so much new stuff out there, right? And new stuff is coming out every second. So how do you stay ahead of marketing trends without falling victim to every shiny new tactic?
That's a great question.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah, no. And anybody that kind of comes across as if they are like on top of everything all the time, like that's a red flag. I feel like we're always playing catch up to a certain extent. There's always going to be some new app or some new trend or something's always going to be, one step ahead. I think it's good to take a breath and realize like you don't have to chase every new thing. Mm-hmm. Like if it's worth chasing today, it's going to be worth chasing in a month, right? So don't feel bad if you're behind. But look at the landscape you're in right now. Figure out, all right, what is stable, what is worth investing in right now that I need to get caught up on, right? So a few months ago, I would have said if you're not on TikTok, you need to be on TikTok. Right now, that's all. Like I have a feeling, my gut is saying it's going to be around. It's worth investing in, but I don't want to put that as an absolute right now because it's uncertain. Yeah. But I'd say one thing that is for certain is things like live social shopping. That is something that started to take off in the U.S. At a pace that's kind of fun and it's interesting to see what's happening with it.
And of course, I know what it is, but for everybody who doesn't, which is me, tell us what that is.
Yeah, so it's essentially QVC on your phone, right? So it's I think it really started taking hold with TikTok live shopping, but now you've got things like Whatnot. That's a whole other app that people are live social shopping on. So you imagine like opening up your TikTok. If you happen to have TikTok on your phone right now, you can click on the live button in the top left, and you'll see people just live streaming different things. But every once in a while, you'll see people live streaming and selling something, right? They'll say, "Hey, I've got this. Sometimes it's like a gaming console, and they'll be demoing the gaming console and be like, just click below, for $99.99, you can get this, handy dandy gaming console." And to some people, it sounds a little cheesy, and you think, I would never buy something from somebody on TikTok doing that. I mean, you've got like guys selling T-shirts out of their kitchen, right? They're like, I've got this, vintage Disney T-shirt. And you think like, I would never buy that. But you look at, there's 1,000 people watching them and they're buying things.
There is
And
something about
yeah,
um, something that's kind of raw and unpolished that
yeah,
people feel like it's more real and authentic, right? Look, I graduated with a degree in video production, right? And so at the beginning, my videos were really sharp, everything was green screen, Chiron, everything. And I got very little interaction. When I started grabbing my phone, doing, hey guys, Coach Dan here, right? That's when things blew up. So I think based on what you're saying is, yeah, maybe conventional wisdom tells you, yeah, no one's going to buy this stuff, but I think people are really attracted to that. Now, let's say that I'm a plumber, I own a donut shop. How can I take advantage of live social shopping?
that's a great question. I honestly, I have no idea. If you don't have a product that can be
Yeah,
shipped, then it's going to be hard for you. However, like you can, I mean, there may be something that you have that you can ship, even if it's like you've got a cool brand and maybe you've got some cool slogans or sayings or something. And you put them on T-shirts
mm-hmm.
and you do a print on demand T-shirt thing. That could be something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the great thing about it is it doesn't require a lot of investment to try.
Yeah.
Now with TikTok, you have to have, I think, 1,000 followers to launch into it. But with Whatnot, you can get on there and start live selling stuff today. Now, again, unless you actually have a product for your business that you can sell, it's probably not something you want to spend a whole lot of time doing. But if you're looking just to make some extra money, you can go on there and sell. It's essentially like a live garage sale. You can just walk around
Right.
your house and say, I've got this.
That's
I've got
hilarious,
that.
right? Just, hey, who wants to buy my fridge? Wow.
Exactly. If you can ship it, yes. But there are some businesses, we're pushing some of our clients to get on live social shopping because they've got, some of them have got like not electronic, but digital products that people can buy, and they can actually go through and demo. One person, for instance, has a makeup coloring system, right? So you go through and you buy a coloring analysis from her, and you go through this online quiz, and she'll tell you like what your signature colors are, right? Like what your, what sort of lipstick you should have, or what sort of nail polish you should use, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And that's something that she can, that's something that she can demo. She can like walk people through and kind of, and do it with a person. And then say, hey, if you want this sort of color analysis, click here. So you can get creative with it. And it might be something that can apply to your business. Don't feel bad if it doesn't, but I'm sure that there are some that are listening that if you were to get a little creative, you could probably find a way to sell something on there.
So let's say, I'm a small business, I'm a coach, or I'm a plumber, right? Or have a donut shop. What are the kinds of things that I should be doing right now to help elevate my business?
So, one, I would set goals, right? That's one of the things that that we see time and time again. Folks will come in and they can't clearly articulate what they're trying to achieve. And when you're in that position, it's one of those things like if you shoot for nothing, you're going to hit it every time. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to tell whether your marketing is actually doing what you want it to do because you haven't defined what you want to do. So start with goals. That's where we always start. Anytime a client comes in, we say, what measurable goals, SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, right? That's where we always start. And then figure out what your investment is. So your investment's your time, your money, maybe your staff. What do you have that you can pull together and really put towards reaching that goal? The smaller you are, the smaller your dollars are going to be, and as you grow, the bigger that gets. And then with those two things in mind, you can kind of think through the strategy. But one of the core things, and I would say almost every business that's out there can probably use a revamp either on their main brand or on their messaging.
Hmm.
So what we run into a lot is when you start a business, if you're an entrepreneur, you're starting a business, you're really good at your thing, right? You're a really good plumber. You're a really good insurance person, right? And so you look out at the world and you say, what's everybody else? All my other plumber friends doing? What are all my other insurance friends doing?
Right.
I'm gonna do something like that. And so that's why you wind up getting a lot of like HVAC logos that always have, a snowflake and a flame in the
Right.
logo,
Yeah.
or
Oh, it's
plumbers that have
genius, Jeremy.
yeah, or,
I should do that.
plumber, yeah. Plumbers that have a wrench in the logo. So
Yeah.
you get all these things that look very similar. We
Yeah.
live
Hey,
in
what should a dentist have in their logo, Jeremy?
something that no one else is doing, probably like a tooth. I
A
think.
tooth. Oh,
Yes,
genius. Genius. No wonder you're so good at this.
Well, what we have happen here is we are tied to the geographical wonder that is the Smoky
Mhm.
Mountains. Love the
Okay.
Smoky Mountains. It's the best national park on the planet. Um, Good times. But I could probably list off 1,000 different businesses that start with Smoky Mountains.
Hmm.
Smoky Mountains this, Smoky Mountains that, or foothills this, foothill. So sometimes when you live or when your business is starting in something that is tied to a significant thing, a lot of the businesses start to name themselves after that thing. So the naming of your business is key.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go back to that, being a little risky. Don't play it safe with your name. You need to stand out. You need to push that envelope a little bit. Create a name that catches people's attention. If you can't catch their attention, then you don't get to explain how good your service is. But if let's say you've chosen your name, you've even got a logo that you're tied into, you really can't change it. It's going to be way too much hassle, way too expensive to try to change all that. Then think about the things that you can change a little easier. Your messaging. Do you have a good tagline, right? Like I've seen some very boring business names that have great taglines. So if you can come up with a clever, funny, serious, bold type of tagline, that can go a long way. And so I would say figure out, yes, what can those folks do? What can those local businesses do immediately to help them improve their marketing? Figure out a way with your branding to be distinct, right? And by distinct, I mean, how do you stand out from the crowd? Figure a way to do that. If you can do it with your name, great. If you can do it with your logo, better. If you can do it with your messaging, go for it. So find a way to stand out from the crowd.
Okay. And look, you've helped a bunch of businesses cross the $1 million mark. Like if I want to take my business there, what are the kinds of things I need to do to cross that threshold?
So really, you've got to get serious about it. You've got to get serious about your advertising. I think a lot of businesses think that they can just do hire someone to do their social media, or do maybe even they lean on email, right? But you've got to at some point start putting aside a significant amount of money for your advertising. We recommend, if you can get in that 3 to 5% of your revenue, you're going to start seeing some stuff, and that's going to build. There's not a absolute number that you need to shoot for. Like if you Google what should I spend on my marketing, you get ranges from 5% to 20%. We've never had a client that spent 20% of their revenue on marketing. I wish we did. That'd be great.
For you, right?
But yeah, it'd be great. But if you can shoot for that 3 to 5% when you're starting out, that's a good place to be. Again, it's not absolute. Some businesses are going to be different. Some businesses need to put in a ton more to get going. Some you can survive with a lot less. But if you can shoot for that 3 to 5% of putting that aside to go towards advertising,
Hmm.
That's going to be key.
And what kind of advertising? Like Google
Great. Yeah.
ads, Facebook ads? What?
I'm glad you asked. So I'm sure you guys probably talk a lot on here about like a sales funnel, sales process, type of thing. So we typically break it down, make it very simple. You got your awareness, your interest, and your lower funnel. They're ready to buy, right? And so you kind of have to start off on that lower funnel. If you've only got a couple $100 and you're a plumber, for instance, then one of the best things you can do is go to Google, run your Google search ads. I say that with this caveat: different cities, that $200 is not going to get you very many clicks, right? For plumbers, plumber keywords cost anywhere from $15 to $30 a click. So $200 is not going to get you very far. So if you've got 1,000, it's going to be a little better. I think figuring out how to start on that lower level in some form or fashion, even if it's getting some door hangers and you're going out to you work at somebody's house, and then you're going out to all their neighbors saying, hey, we just helped your neighbor, give us a call for your plumbing needs, that sort of thing. That's more of that mid-level, but if you can figure out a way, some tactics to really take advantage of that lower funnel, that's where you want to start and kind of build up from there. But a really healthy marketing plan is going to have some sort of tactic going at each level, and that fuels that funnel, right? Where you want to get to is where you have some brand awareness that's really healthy. So brand awareness being like everything from billboards to streaming radio ads to social media ads. The healthier you can make that, the more efficient it makes everything else.
Gotcha.
We like to turn the funnel sideways until you see kind of the circles, and so that center circle, that small circle at the bottom of the funnel, everybody is always fighting over those people, right? They want those people who are ready to buy, they're ready to make a decision. But what people don't realize is that if you can get people when they're out here in the bigger funnel, if you can win them over and earn that spot in their memory and make them want you out here, you've already won them by the time they get here, right? They're not going to Google and searching for plumbers near me. They're going to search for plumber Dan. They're searching for you by name by that point. Okay. And so that's what you see when you have really good, healthy, memorable brand awareness. It helps you win them when they're down here. So I hope that answered the question a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And I just want to say that it sounds like coming up with these things is the type of things that you do in Climb Club, right? This supportive online community of local marketing masterminds, right? Because everything that you're saying makes sense, but the application of it, like, okay, come up with a great tagline, come up with a great logo, right? It's like, well, how do I do that? Like, it sounds like Climb Club is a place where people can get those answers.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's what that mastermind time is all about. And we've had some great ideas that have been birthed out of that.
Right.
That we've seen successes with, right? So we'll have a mastermind. Someone says, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Someone else throws out an idea. And then the next week someone comes along and says, you know what, I tried that thing and it worked. And they're seeing success out of it. So,
right.
So yeah.
So you can let other people try things and screw up, and then wait till something really works and then do that. It's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So Jeremy, tell us about your book. Like last thing I want to talk about: Climb: The Risk and Rewards of Elevating Your Brand. What drove you to write this, and what's in it? Why should people get it?
So it was one of those COVID quarantine projects. I had always wanted to write something. And I just found myself with more time on my hands. And I sat down and probably wrote, I don't know, maybe 75% of it in a weekend, it felt like. And it took me, 3 or 4 years to finish the other 25%. But where it really kind of came from was I realized that our business was shifting. We about 2019, that's where we really kind of consciously made an effort, said, okay, we need to start looking towards larger businesses and going that direction. And so we were kind of on that route, and it was kind of birthed out of this, like, I don't know, this like I really want to help the underdogs. I want to help the people who are in our towns and need this knowledge. And so I want to pass that on some way. So wrote this book called Climb, and it is a business narrative. So there's a little bit of fiction in it, and there's a lot of nuts and bolts nonfiction as well. So it follows the story of Eva Marley. She is a woman who, her father's aging. He has to step out of the family business, and she gets to take it over. But what he passes on to her is this business that's kind of, it's lost its steam, it's lost its momentum. And so she has to figure out how, do we rebrand it? Do we, how do we get the website under control and the other marketing and everything? And so you get to see real life kind of concrete examples of how do you actually implement good marketing. But every chapter kind of takes that element, like whether it's your brand or your ads or a website, or even your community involvement, right? That's a whole chapter, is your community. It takes those elements and breaks it down and says, these are the things you need to be thinking about. This is how you do it. If you're going to hire someone, these are the questions you need to be asking. And so it's a kind of a handbook to DIY your marketing as a local business.
Gotcha. And what a great way to take someone through it, right? The narrative. There's a book called The E-Myth that does something really similar.
Yeah.
That talks about this. I think it's a pie store, right? And it's such a marketing book can be so conceptual, and it'd be really hard to kind of figure out, okay, how does this work in real life? So I can see that's really helpful. So where can people get Climb, the risk and rewards of elevating your brand?
So they can go to theclimb.guide. That's you'll find links to everything. I'll say this: if you have like an Amazon gift card that you need to use, you can find it on Amazon. I'd love it. Perfect. But if you're paying cash out of your pocket, please go to bookshop.org. That supports local booksellers. You can even go on there and pick, if you have a local bookseller in your town that you want to benefit, part of that sale goes to them. So bookshop.org, there's a link to it on there. Also Barnes & Noble, but so you can find it on all the places. There's a Kindle version. Right. I'm working on the audio, so that's not out yet, but that should be coming hopefully soon.
Nice. And, I really get that you are committed to helping small businesses, small local businesses, it'd be really easy just to throw people to Amazon. Yeah, they can get it there, but I appreciate the fact that, that you want to help locals. Right. And it seems like that's what the Climb Club is all about, that kind of support. So how else can people get in touch with you, Jeremy?
My LinkedIn, just search for me, Jeremy Leduc on, I think I'm the only one on LinkedIn. Search for me there. I'd love to connect. And then also if you want to jump in the Climb Club, we'd love to have you. We've got a month trial for free. So you can go sign up and if after a month you feel like, it's not really my thing. No harm, no foul. But we'd love to have you. Love to have you in the masterminds and see if we can help you conquer your marketing mountains.
Well, thanks. Hey, Jeremy, this has been great. Thank you for coming on Sales Genius podcast. And thanks for everything that you shared. This has been just terrific.
I appreciate the opportunity.
See ya.
Take care.
Let's talk about sales, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the challenges that may be. Let's talk about sales. A little bit,